What we're seeing right now is they're spraying this area with blue paint. The water cannons are now spraying blue paint at the protesters on top of the roof. It's soap, I'm sorry. I'm being told now it is soap that they are spraying at these protesters. I have confirmed from a police spokesman that what their strategy is right now is they are going to put that crate filled with SWAT team police on top of the roof. They are doing that right now. You are watching as this crate filled with SWAT team police is landing on the roof. They sent an engineer up there. They tested the roof. They found out that it was strong enough to hold it. They have now placed 2 crates, shipping containers filled with SWAT team police. They are going to start arresting these protesters. The protesters are covered in blue soap. It's spraying everywhere, as you can see. I think I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty much covering them. Incredible images here. Never thought I'd see this on top of a synagogue here.
Jennifer, explain to us the significance of using blue soap on the protesters.
Well, blue had become, you know, David, the symbolic color to counter the orange. Orange had been the color chosen by the anti-Gaza pullout. All right, they're breaking in right now, David. You see these pictures? They have broken through the roof. They're now going to use ladders to go up the side. I have confirmed from sources in the police they're going to use ladders. Watch them put up the ladders, and they are going to go above that barbed wire onto the roof. The significance of the blue is that was the color of those in favor of the disengagement from Gaza. It was almost a war of colors between those in favor and those opposed. The country is nearly split down the middle, so using blue soap to spray these orange protesters, it does have some symbolism. Right now, watch out, they're throwing sand on the, this is what we had heard from the settlers themselves, that they had sand up there. Now they are throwing that sand onto these special SWAT team forces, trying to blind them. They did this earlier today with the mirrors. When the sun was out, they were flashing mirrors into the soldiers' eyes and the police's eyes. Now they're using sand. They are pulling out all sorts of tactics. Now the crate is going back up with more reinforcements. They're putting up those ladders, David, and it looks like they're going to end the siege tonight. We had heard at one point they might take a break, let them spend the night, cool down a bit, negotiate, but they're not in the mood to negotiate, it appears, at this moment. David?
Jennifer, it's 6:56 as we see on our Gaza clock there. How much more light is left before darkness sets in?
I would say they have about an hour to do this.
And they want to do this, I assume, before it gets dark.
They do. What they told me is that they do not want to carry out. They're pouring gasoline now on the oil and gasoline on these SWAT team members going up. They are just wow. Yes, they're breaking through. They have SWAT team police on the roof who are breaking through the barbed wire. We can see them on the other side trying to make space so they can make it up those ladders. What's also interesting, David, is they have sent in emergency rescue teams that normally deal with terrorism and freeing terror victims from hostage-like situations. They have sent those emergency workers, those medical workers inside because they are fearing that there could be injuries. These are unbelievable images from on top of this synagogue here in Kfar Durham settlement. Watch that. They're spraying more of this blue soap at the protesters. The power of that water and soap spray is so much. I don't know how those people are still standing, but they are putting up a good fight right now, these protesters. This is unbelievable. It's hard to imagine that this is happening on top of a synagogue. David?
Jennifer, it's Bridget. I can't imagine how any officer climbing up that ladder would be able to get past that barbed wire.
That's why I can see on the other side there are border policemen, it looks like, who are trying to cut through those with special, I don't know what to describe them as, like huge, yeah, they're cutting it now. You can see that. They're cutting it. They're working very quickly. They did not want this to get to this kind of a situation here. They tried to negotiate all day. They thought that the sun and the heat would wear these people down. They let them stand up there. sing and pray all day, but when they decided to go in, they clear. Excuse me? Yeah, they're cutting the bars. Yeah, they're cutting the barbed wire. We did notice that. You can see more people going up, cutting that barbed wire. That barbed wire is very difficult to get through, but they're working their way slowly through it. These are very trained special units. Again, normally used to dealing. They are trained to deal with freeing victims of hostage taking and terror incidents. They never thought they would be going up against their own people, I don't think. David?
Yeah, Jennifer, the significance of that water cannon, particularly as we saw protesters pouring what appeared to be flammable liquid, either gasoline or oil, those water cannons may not just be used on the protesters, but also to douse any flames that might occur, right?
Right. So far, we haven't seen any flames, but I do know from our police sources that there is oil all inside the base of the synagogue. That's why they didn't go through that way. It was too slippery, too difficult to get people out. But they are still throwing sand, anything they can get their hands on, bags of sand. They are pouring out on these SWAT team members and members of the Israeli army. David?
Okay. It did appear, by the way, that one person, you can see a guy with a red hat throwing what we can only guess is gasoline or some kind of flammable liquid. We're not certain of that, but it appears to be the case. Earlier, I saw a couple of, I don't know if you could, Jennifer, from your position, but we could see some protesters trying to calm that particular protester, stop him from doing it. Clearly, they were unsuccessful. So you have all kinds of elements from the most extreme to a little more moderate on top of that synagogue, right?
Well, I'd say most of the people up there at this point in time, they are extreme in their actions, and we knew this today. The police and the SWAT team who came in here knew that these were the hardliners who were up there. They're now spraying. Look at this. They have foam that they are spraying. Wow, wow, wow. Oh, we're about to get doused. But that I can confirm that it is either oil or gasoline that they were pouring before onto these SWAT team units. What is interesting, I'm being told that those blue SWAT team outfits, their zip-up jumpsuits, they are non-flammable, so there is no chance that they will catch fire. They were prepared for this situation, and boy, the settlers are giving them a good fight, though. They're not going to be deterred, though. We've talked to the commanders of this unit, and they're gonna let them run out of steam, it looks like. And but boy, what images here at this synagogue in Kfar, Drom. David?
Jennifer, we saw the crane lifting that crate in which there were those special forces from the Israeli services. Has that crane dropped? Has the cart in which those special forces are located now opened up on top of the roof?
Yes, from my perspective, I can see some soldiers on top of the roof. So they are already there. They are starting to arrest people. I see one soldier who has a helmet on. He's a green uniform, and he is covered in suds and foam from the soap that has been sprayed by those water cannons. So he's covered in suds, and he's trying to arrest the protesters who are up there. So yes, those cranes and those crates have landed. What's going to be interesting is to see. Wow, they almost knocked the guy down. What's going to be interesting is to see if they place the settlers and the protesters themselves inside those containers. It looks like the crane is moving back now. I'm not sure whether they're going to load that up. It's really unclear at this point. David?
It does appear, however, that there are soldiers on the roof, on top of the roof. There you can see one, as you said, covered with soap. So these protesters are, for all purposes, now surrounded.
That's right. We're going to pan in right now. We're going to focus in on one of the, yes, you can see, I can see soldiers up there. They're trying to help their colleagues climb up. They're also being pushed back by a lot of protesters, but I see one soldier there pulling the barbed wire back. You can see him. He's covered in foam, and that's foam that was fired from the police vehicle, from the water cannon there. He's covered in foam, but yes, we see, wow, what an image. Can you pan into the leader with the flag? The man you see there holding the flag is the leader of the group up there. He's a pretty famous settler. He established some settlements back after the 1967 war up in the Golan Heights. He's very well known. I believe his name, I'll have to double check it, Moshe Fesson, I believe is his name. He's holding the Israeli flag right now. He's doused in blue. That's not the color of this movement. The anti-disengagement movement has all the orange that you see up there. That's the color of their movement. But he is doused in blue right now, standing there holding the Israeli flag. The Israeli flag also doused in by that water cannon. Still more sand coming over the edge of the side there. Not easy for this SWAT team to get onto the roof, but they do have colleagues who are already up there because the cranes with those crates, those shipping containers, dropped off several SWAT teams on the top. So they're trying to go at this from two different angles, David.
Jennifer, the blue, you mentioned the significance as opposition to the orange color, which represents the settlers, but could the blue soap also have the deterrent effect of making things a lot more slippery up there on top of the roof so that people aren't able to hold their ground?
Oh, it must. That's right, David. It must be unbelievably slippery. Look, there. Just a second. I'm getting information.
Them to calm down.
Okay. The soldiers are begging them, I'm being told, to calm down. They're begging them. They're saying, please do not injure your brothers. There are going to be injuries if you do not stop. We have not seen scenes like this in the last 48 hours since they started these forcible evacuations. This is a very, very intense struggle taking place, and the soldiers are warning the settlers, telling the protesters that if they don't stop, there will be injuries. David?
Jennifer, as you have mentioned many times before, however, despite this violence, this confrontation, there has been a lot less of it than was expected. I mean, what we are seeing now is what some people expected from the get-go in this process.
Well, I think when we talk about violence, David, what we mean is that there have not been any shootouts, there have not been any armed settlers who have opened fire on these police and army forces who have come to evacuate. There have been no sieges where there were mass suicides. These were the things that people were concerned about in terms of violence. They were also concerned that the Palestinians might open fire during this time. What you don't realize is that just over this synagogue, just a few hundred yards behind us, is the edge of this settlement, and that is where the Palestinians are. The Palestinians surround this settlement on all sides. On a normal day, they are firing rockets and mortars into here, but the Palestinians took a decision that when Israel started this process that they would try to hold their fire, and so far, for the most part, they have. So we have not had any deaths that resulted from this forcible evacuation. What you're seeing now is dangerous, but it's not. You're not talking about armed settlers on top of the roof there.
Well, that is one silver lining in this dark cloud, the fact that we don't add the Palestinian hostility to Israel into this mix of hostility between Israelis. But Jennifer, I know these settlers were extraordinarily well armed, partly because of the Palestinians who'd been firing on these settlements. What happened to all those weapons?
Well, a lot of them handed in their weapons before this process began. The government, what's interesting here is they're holding the eyeballs of these, wow. They are holding the eyeballs to control these protesters. That is as extreme as I've seen in terms of force used by the SWAT teams to remove the protesters. We've seen from houses, they carry them out, but nothing as violent as that, literally pinching their eyeballs so that to get them to calm down. A lot of force being used here.